No gas, no fuel, and various essential medications, and people are suffering, and the people are living with 1 meal per day. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? I'm so sorry to say this.
Wow, those video reports are coming out of Sri Lanka, where allegedly protesters who are angry at the cost of living going up have decided to throw politicians' cars into the river in a sign of protest. Thank goodness they have speedboats paid for by your tax dollars. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Rudowski here of WeAreChange.org. And oh boy, do we have a barn burner of a video for you today, as we're going to get into some really deep, crazy topics. The future technocratic uploading your consciousness existence. That, I think, is worth to consider, especially with all the latest news surrounding Elon Musk. There's also a lot of troubling developments here domestically inside of the United States, as of course, financially, we are in some very serious trouble. What's going on? What's going to happen? Well, we're going to be talking about that, plus a lot more. But in the beginning of this video, I did talk about Sri Lankan speedboats specifically, mainly because your tax dollars literally went towards buying Sri Lanka speedboats. That's not a joke. That wasn't an exaggeration. That actually did happen. And that is one thing on a very long list of ridiculous things that the United States spends money on. Your money on. And aren't you satisfied that after a long, hard day of work, a percentage, 25 to 50% of your labor is going towards Sri Lankan politicians having speedboats? It's also going to be going towards Ukrainian politicians and bureaucrats, as the U.S. House of Representatives just passed a $40 billion aid package to Ukraine, which will prominently go towards the bureaucrats and politicians' salaries there, the same politicians and bureaucrats that had corrupted business dealings with Hunter Biden, the son of the President of the United States. You see the correlation there? One hand washes the other. And if you remember, not so long ago, just even a few days ago, there was a mainstream corporate media talking point that Elon Musk should take his $40 billion and end world hunger. As of course the mainstream media was telling you, it's just going to cost $40 billion. Why doesn't Elon Musk do this? Well, why in the world doesn't the U.S. government do this then? As of course that's the amount of money that they're throwing into prolonging a conflict that is creating not only a significant loss of life for the people of Ukraine, but ending any possibility of a ceasefire to even happen. And of course, a lot of people should be asking themselves, where does this $40 billion come from? Well, of course, you're going to be paying for it in one way or another. The money is either going to be borrowed or printed out of thin air. Either way, you're going to be paying the price for that, as perfectly represented by this latest Mike Cernovich tweet saying, quote, "At least Ukrainian oligarchs and members of Congress are getting paid." This showing a picture of him paying $115.02 for gas, as of course the national average has skyrocketed and is only expected to go up from here. Ukrainian oligarchs are getting paid with your tax dollars. Meanwhile, here in the United States, there's a baby formula shortage. But don't worry, very conveniently, Bill Gates has an invested monetary interest, as he, of course, is behind a company producing lab-made breast milk that should be on the market in 3 to 5 years. What a perfect coinkydink. What a perfect coincidence yet again for Mr. Bill Gates, the largest farmland owner in all of the United States. And with this artificial human breast milk coming, you have to start wondering, what does Bill Gates and the Breakthrough Energy Venture board members, individuals like Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Richard Branson, Mike Bloomberg, know that we don't know about, as of course they heavily invested in this new startup company from North Carolina. With board members like that, you know there's a lot of internal finagling, and I think it's fair to say gaming of the market. This, as of course, times are not only difficult for mothers trying to get baby formula, but internationally things are getting bad and will only continue to get bad from here, as we've been warning you about this specifically. This, as natural gas prices in Europe have jumped, as Ukraine has just blocked the flow of it into Europe. All of this as energy shortages, the disruption of the global supply chains, the lack of wheat export, which Russia is stopping Ukraine from doing, the lack and disruption of fertilizer on the world stage is creating a very unique situation, where, as you saw in the beginning of this video, is creating a very serious situation for a lot of the people in the world, as the most poorest countries are paying the biggest price for a lot of these reckless geopolitical endeavors, as of course the Middle East Monitor even reports how the rising price of food is going going to, quote, stoke inevitable rise in civil unrest in Egypt, Tunisia, Lebanon, as of course many people expect significant food and energy shortages in the Middle East and Africa coming soon, where of course poverty will only increase and create a horrible situation for the people there. And poverty is also increasing here domestically in the United States. Now, not on the same scale as, of course, a lot of the poorer countries out there, but still, we're living in a place where in New York City, criminals are literally running around free, being let out of jail. Meanwhile, the new mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, is sending his obedient gang of violent men to go after entrepreneur women selling mangoes on train stations. Yes, the mayor of New York City is publicly standing up for the NYPD and defending their arrest of a woman selling mangoes on a train. And as the NYPD is busy trying to destroy honest people, trying to make an honest living, criminals are literally running rampant and loose all over the city, which shows you where the city has its priorities, as of course it's focusing on destroying independent and small businesses, as the mayor gets dressed up like a Gucci-wearing clown and attends all his high society galas and parties, which he's having a blast at. This poor woman dealing the full brunt of the state that of course strips people away of its wealth, of its opportunities, and robs them of an honest entrepreneurial life as the mayor parties in high society. All of this as the previous mayor openly discriminated against white government officials and has spent insane amount of government public money on his lavish lifestyle and stays in villas and mansions. And if you weren't dealing with enough of government, we have U.S. Senator Durbin proposing new rules, new laws that threaten jail time for supplement companies, trying to make it difficult for you as an individual to be able to get your vitamin D, vitamin B, macronutrients, without, of course, the government acting like a middleman mafioso thug that, of course, wants their pound of flesh. And as, of course, they tightly regulate, control every aspect of natural health, they, of course, will at the same time promote, manipulate, and extort the general public to take a rushed experimental gene therapy that we still don't know the long-term consequences of, that the producers have no liability from. Yeah, that right there is some absolute lunacy, and I have a lot more to say about that, especially with Bill Gates coming out with his latest revelation, which I'm going to be specifically talking about on LukeUncensored.com later on today, our own free speech platform where we get to say and do whatever we want, whenever we want, as we do videos there almost every single day. Today's video is going to be a very big one, specifically highlighting the latest insanity. I'm going to be even talking about the supplements that I personally take for my own personal health, so maybe you could get them too before the government makes it illegal to even do this. This, as even the head of the World Health Organization was just censored by China in the most absolute ridiculous ways. A lot of important things to get into. We're going to be talking about that and continuing the conversation on LukeUncensored.com. Click the link down in the description below and sign up right now to get the exclusive content only available to members of this quasi-secret society where we strive to help you out as much as we can. And even though a lot of people are waiting for Elon Musk to, of course, finally acquire Twitter to promote free speech, you could still do that on a micro level. And if you're an independent media creator, I definitely recommend this is the way to do this. Relying on eccentric billionaires might not be the smartest of strategies, even though principally what he is saying and representing is an absolutely important idea that does deserve your backing and support, as of course recently we got a slurry of articles and statements that Elon Musk would reverse the ban on Donald Trump. This as more specifically, he explained that permanently banning people on Twitter for political speech is, quote, fundamentally undermining trust of the social media platform, Twitter specifically, and exacerbates societal divisions. And there I would have to absolutely agree with Elon Musk, as of course there's even many scientific studies showing specifically that if you try to censor and destroy someone's political opinion and speech, that speech and opinion only becomes more emboldened, only becomes stronger, as of course the censored person usually doubles down on those ideas, and they have to go to further darker places on the internet and even potentially get more more radicalized because of this censorship. As of course, the best way to fight bad ideas is with good ideas. And when you get rid of the sharing of ideas, when you have algorithms, when you have insane, deranged individuals trying to add their context, their perspective to everything out there, and to silence voices out there, just like this new disinformation czar by the Biden administration and the Department of Homeland Security, we have to understand, we then not only have the destruction of free speech, but the radicalization and subsequent destruction of societal norms from this insecure dominance of people being able to talk to each other. This idea that humans don't have critical thinking, don't have discernment, don't have the ability to actually talk through ideas is an elitist idea by many prominent billionaires and bureaucrats that think that you should be told what you should be able to think, what you can't think, the ideas that you could even ascertain. And that to me is one of the most dangerous ideas in recorded human history, as of course these kind of delusional grandeur elitist perspectives have created the most amount of human atrocities. And on this particular standpoint, I am 110% behind Elon Musk and him standing up saying that he would reinstate Donald Trump's account, even though Donald Trump specifically said that he would not return to Twitter. He said that he would be only on Truth Social, which is a social media platform that has been described as an absolute dud. And I think it's fair to say that when you don't have echo chambers like the algorithms have created, you don't have the massive political polarization. And the massive political polarization has happened mainly because big tech social media algorithms have regurgitated people's voices to each other, while of course censoring dissenting voices, critical voices of the status quo, of the norms, thus for creating a perpetual larger divide and conquer scheme that of course is making people absolutely hate each other because of petty political differences. And Elon Musk may be the person that could stop this larger divide and conquer game, that could stop this larger political polarization and radicalization just by being able to, of course, open a platform to the basic principles of free speech. And when he says that it was, quote, a morally bad decision and foolish in the extreme to ban Donald Trump, even though I am definitely not a fan of Donald Trump. I'm not a fan of a man who printed more money than Joe Biden and instituted more regulations and control on self-defense than any other president since Ronald Reagan. But still, him having his voice is extremely important for our national discourse, and the censorship of him will eventually backfire. Now, at the same time that a lot of this is happening, you also have the changing of our mainline society that is becoming more technocratic by the day. This, as Facebook has been investing a huge amount of money on the, quote, metaverse. They just, by the way, opened up their first metaverse store where people could, of course, go buy their digital virtual reality goggles and gloves and interact with some of the latest technology that they, of course, are trying to interject into your life, your lifestyle, in order to, quote, have convenience. But, of course, as we know, they're not just selling convenience, they're selling total tracking, total control, total spying, and selling your data to the highest bidder, as, of course, this company has a horrible record of violating people's privacy, people's intimate details, which they even used for larger psychological studies trying to see how they could manipulate people's emotions. And if you think that's where the buck stops, that's what we know publicly. What they're doing on a bigger scheme, we don't even know, but we could bet it's probably a lot more sinister than just trying to see if they can make you happy or sad. As of course, this is a private company that has been absolutely ruthless in trying to achieve their profit motives. And as our society becomes more technologically inclined, it does, in the back of my mind, make me question this larger acquisition of Twitter by Elon Musk that, of course, will have a lot of important data sets, will have a lot of important information that will be entrusted into him. And he did talk about making a lot of it anonymous in order to trust the user base. He talked about using end-to-end encryption, especially when it comes to Twitter DMs and private messages, which is an absolute great thing, an amazing thing. But he's also the same person that's talking about curing 100% of common illnesses with a brain implant chip that his company, Neuralink, is working on. Now, when things start to get a little creepy is when you start to understand that Elon Musk is also working on robot technology, which, according to him, will be a bigger business and bring in more profits than Tesla cars. As, of course, the Tesla company is not just working on cars, they're working on creating artificial intelligence technology in the real world that will be a 5-foot-something robot following you around, helping you with daily tasks that, quote, will make your life convenient. Now again, according to Elon Musk, the most important thing that Tesla is working on is autonomous robots that will follow you and help you to take care of tasks throughout your day. This is where Tesla is spending a lot of their money, a lot of their resources, a lot of their development specifically into. All of this, as Elon Musk has specifically said before, that humans could eventually download their brains and their entire consciousness into robots. Do you get what I'm trying to say here? Do you get what I'm trying to ascertain here? As of course we are reaching Black Mirror levels of reality that are becoming more truer by the day, especially with the technological revolution that we are all going through, especially with the advancement of quantum computing, with artificial intelligence. We're dealing with a reality where robots and computers are going to be smarter, better, if they're already not. I think there's already secretive examples where they are, and a lot more intelligent than human beings. And let's not fool ourselves here. Elon Musk literally talked about hooking your brain up directly to computers, to the internet. Now, I know there's a lot of Elon Musk fanboys out there, and there's a lot to, of course, look up to. He has achieved a lot, but also he has a lot of power, a lot of money. Now, of course, he's not superficial about the wealth like a lot of other billionaires are. He lives a very plain existence. From what's documented of him, he has achieved a lot. He's building space travel, for frick's sakes. But as the old saying goes, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And when it comes to someone having so much power, I think there's an element here of transparency and accountability that it should be demanded. Now, yes, his achievements are remarkable. They do deserve to be complimented, but at the same time we're doing that, at the same time we're supporting his larger efforts to support free speech, I think it's fair to say we should have one eye being like, watch out there, Elon, because in a situation where so much is on the line, skepticism should be your best friend. And some people say I might be overly cautious. Some people might say I'm not cautious enough here. I think there's also a perspective of this that we should entertain here, and that is that this technological revolution is going to happen whether we like it or not. And Elon Musk could be rushing in order to make advancement in this, in order so there's a chance that this larger technology, this larger power could be used for good rather than bad. There is that possibility out there because Elon Musk is a genius. He does see things that we don't see, that the average public isn't privy to. There are larger conversations about the technological revolution that of course, a lot of people can't even quantify in their minds. The world is changing. It's becoming more and more digital. And as it does, there's going to be some serious societal upheavals and some very serious consequences for the people who are not following up on it. And there's also going to be a lot to achieve from the people creating this larger technological revolution. And this is why this story, this topic is so important to me, because whether you're a technocrat or a futurist, I think it's fair to say it's only a matter of time until everything becomes digital. And as we make those leaps and bounds, we should be careful to where we are jumping to. And hey, that's just mine and Atlas's perspective. She's my co-host, best co-host I have ever had. Great job, Atlas. You did awesome today. Really appreciated all of your specific input. But again, this is just my particular perspective, my opinion, and if you thought I was right, share this video with your friends and family members, random strangers walking by down the street. You're at the supermarket, at the grocery store, you're picking out your coffee or your supplements, as you could still get them, maybe, hopefully, and you're saying, hey, you should watch youtube.com/wearestrangers. I think it would help you, especially if you're buying this supplement or that supplement. It's random acts of just telling people about where they could get alternative information is absolutely crucial and key, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys doing that. If you disliked anything I said dislike the video. I wish we could see it, but we're living in a platform that, of course, tries to protect the multinational corporations, Disney and Dr. Fauci, from, of course, being exposed for all the true frauds that they actually are. So yeah, we're living in a very strange world. And again, you got any information to counter my particular points? Where do you stand on this issue? Are you 100% pro Elon, 100% skeptical of Elon, or in my situation, kind of in the middle of that situation and deciding to compliment him and cheer him when he's doing good, and of course criticize him when there's things that are absolutely worrying for the future consequences of humanity? Where do you stand as a human being? Number 1, if you fully trust him. Number 2, in the comment section, if you don't trust him. Put in a 12 if you're just like me. That's my perspective. You can scroll through the comments and then see all the different interactions and see where people are. I always find those kind of polls very interesting. I love you guys. I got one more video coming your way on lukeuncensored.com. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. Stay tuned for a lot more here on wearechange.org. Love you.